Hi guys, Louise again. So in this video, I want to talk a little bit more about our stress bucket. So this is a part of our brain that's in that primitive mind. Now, our thoughts and feelings about events in our lives creates fuel and adds fuel to our stress bucket. Now, we all have different levels of stress within our stress bucket, but what I'm pleased to tell you is that there is a natural way of emptying our stress bucket, and it's free. So it's sleep. So when we're in our REM sleep, so which is our rapid eye movement or our dream sleep, that's where we process the events of the day. We start to empty that stress bucket. So we'll remove the emotion, we'll process what's gone on, and we'll move that event, that memory, from our primitive brain into our intellectual brain. So I'm sure you're familiar with this kind of process. So imagine that somebody upsets you and you go home and you tell your other half about it and they say, oh, just forget about it, but you can't. So you go to bed and you're still dwelling on that event. Now, when you're asleep and in REM sleep, your brain processes that event. So it will remove the emotion and it moves that memory into your intellectual brain. Now, when you're in that intellectual brain, you've got a lot more kind of sensible, rational response to it. And actually, you'll process it and think, actually, it wasn't that bad. So then the next morning when you wake up, you may well have forgotten about the event, but you might not. But you might be saying something like, why did I even let that person upset me? So it's great that we can empty our stress bucket. Now, for some people, if they put too much into their stress bucket, the bucket overflows. Now, because REM sleep's only restricted to about 20% of our overall sleep, then the mind wakes us up. So often if you've had a lot on, things have been building up, you find that you're waking up during the night and then your mind's racing. You're trying to empty that stress bucket, but because there's just too much in there, the brain wakes you up. You're then thinking and overanalyzing what's gone on that day and you find it really hard to get back to sleep. Now, even if you do get back to sleep, you might not empty your stress bucket. What happens then? You wake up and sadly your stress bucket isn't empty. So that means then as you go throughout the day, things can start adding to the bucket. And remember, it's not necessarily what's happening to you. It's the way you're thinking about what's happening to you. So if we start with a half full stress bucket, we don't have much space to get much more in before it overflows again. Now, when we've got a full stress bucket, when we're anxious, we're in that primitive part of the brain. And it's not a great place to be. Now, with REM sleep, for some people, they overdo it on the REM sleep, which you might think, brilliant, that's great. That means they empty the stress bucket. Sadly not. If you have more REM sleep than that 20% allowance, that starts to affect your deep sleep. Now, your deep sleep is where you rest and repair and reset. So often people wake up and they feel as though they've slept really well, but they're exhausted. And that happens when they've overdone it on the REM sleep and missed out on the deep sleep. So through Solution Focused Hypnotherapy, we can work on reducing those stress levels, talking about the 3 Ps, putting actions into place to keep that stress bucket to a minimum. Now, you're never going to be in a position where you have an empty stress bucket all the time because life happens and there's bumps in the road. But by having solution-focused hypnotherapy, you can learn tools and techniques to get you over those bumps. You'll see almost an immediate improvement in your sleep, and that's through the use of trance and relaxation. So if you'd love to find out more, please get in touch. Now, I'm quite happy to have a chat and talk about how it might work for you and give you the opportunity to ask any questions you might have. So you know where I am. Drop me a message, get me on chat, however you want to reach out. But I look forward to speaking to you soon. Thanks for watching.